Angie Dickinson was Hollywood glamour personified, beautiful, intelligent, and undeniably magnetic. But beneath the luminous surface was a woman who refused to be treated as a mere ornament in a male-dominated industry. Born Angeline Brown in 1931, she rose from small-town roots to become one of the most respected actresses of her generation. Along the way, she learned to recognize the difference between charm and cruelty, confidence and condescension. While she rarely spoke ill of people publicly, Angie didn't forget how she was treated. In private interviews and candid conversations, she revealed a list of men whose behavior crossed the line from arrogance to outright disrespect. These were not petty complaints or tabloid rumors. These were lasting impressions from a woman who demanded professionalism, decency, and equality. Here are the 5 men Angie Dickinson considered the rudest celebrities she ever met. The rise of a Hollywood icon. Angie Dickinson was born Angeline Brown on September 30th, 1931, in Culm, North Dakota. The second of 4 daughters, she grew up in a German-American household that valued discipline and hard work. At age 10, her family moved to Burbank, California, unknowingly placing her near the future she would eventually claim. She attended Glendale College and later transferred to Immaculate Heart College, earning a business degree with plans to become a writer or administrative professional. But her life changed when she won 2nd place in the 1953 Miss America preliminary pageant. That exposure launched her into modeling and television work, leading to acting auditions. By the mid-1950s, she was already being noticed by Hollywood scouts. She made her film debut in 1954, and within a few years, she was becoming one of the most recognizable faces in the industry. Rio Bravo, her breakthrough and the Duke's dismissive attitude. Angie's breakout role came in 1959's Rio Bravo, where she starred opposite John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson. She played Feathers, a sultry yet strong-willed woman, and proved she could hold her own among Hollywood's biggest male stars. The film catapulted her into mainstream fame and defined her as a leading lady who could blend elegance, wit, and grit. But behind the camera, the experience wasn't all glamour. Angie later revealed that John Wayne, despite his status, treated her with condescension. She said he spoke to her like a schoolgirl, rather than a professional actress. His old-fashioned views clashed with her growing independence, leaving her disappointed and disrespected. Though she appreciated the career boost Rio Bravo gave her, she never forgot the way Wayne made her feel, like an accessory instead of an equal. The Sinatra friendship that turned bitter. Frank Sinatra was one of the most influential entertainers of the era, and Angie Dickinson was among the women who moved in his orbit. Their friendship was widely publicized and sometimes flirted with romance. Angie admired his talent and charisma, but she also witnessed a darker side. She described Sinatra as moody and capable of cruelty, especially when he felt crossed or threatened. His charm could vanish in an instant, replaced by verbal lashing and temper. Angie, known for her grace and professionalism, found this behavior intolerable. She said his kindness was conditional, reserved for those who could benefit him. Those who couldn't were dismissed. Though she maintained a complicated friendship with Sinatra for years, the bitterness of his harsh words lingered long after. She never spoke of him publicly with hatred, but privately, she placed him among the most emotionally damaging men she had ever met in Hollywood. Jack Webb, the cold creator who controlled everything. Jack Webb gave Angie Dickinson one of her most iconic roles, Sergeant Suzanne Pepper Anderson on Policewoman. The show became a cultural milestone and made Angie a household name. But Webb's behind-the-scenes behavior was far from supportive. Dickinson described him as cold, rigid, and controlling, treating actors like interchangeable parts, rather than creative collaborators. Even their brief romantic relationship didn't soften his harsh demeanor. Angie struggled to gain creative input and often felt dismissed by Webb's inflexible directing style. He demanded obedience and discouraged individuality, making the working environment emotionally exhausting. While policewoman elevated her career, Webb's behavior left a lasting mark. Angie never fully forgave him for the way he undermined her voice and treated her as a tool rather than an artist. In her mind, Webb was not just rude, he was dehumanizing. Lee Marvin, charisma that masked cruelty. Lee Marvin was known for his gruff persona and explosive temper. Angie Dickinson encountered him in Hollywood social circles and found his behavior deeply unsettling. Though they didn't work together extensively, their interactions were enough to leave a lasting impression. Marvin had a talent for making people feel small with just a few cutting words. Angie described him as sarcastic and mean-spirited, using humor as a weapon rather than a social tool. At a dinner party, he reportedly mocked her acting ability in front of others, later brushing it off as a joke. Angie didn't see it as a joke, she saw it as cruelty. Marvin's charm was simply a mask for arrogance. Angie placed him firmly among the worst personalities she encountered, someone whose talent was overshadowed by his willingness to humiliate others for entertainment. Burt Reynolds, charm used as a weapon. Burt Reynolds was the kind of star who seemed to have everything: good looks, charisma, and fan adoration. Angie Dickinson initially liked him. They shared scenes and social circles, and Reynolds often appeared charming and fun. But Angie soon grew weary of his manipulative behavior. She described him as egotistical, dismissive of her ideas, and too focused on his own image to care about others' work. His flirtation crossed the line into discomfort, and Angie began avoiding him. She once said Reynolds liked women who stayed in their place, and she was not one to be contained. His charm was a mask for disrespect. While fans adored him, Angie saw a man who used charisma to control, manipulate, and dismiss. For her, that made him one of the rudest men she ever met, an example of Hollywood's toxic masculine culture. A career built on strength, not submission. Angie Dickinson's career spanned decades, from the golden age of Hollywood to modern television. She appeared in iconic films such as Ocean's 11, 1960, The Killers, 1964, Point Blank, 1967, and Big Bad Mama, 1974. She also became a groundbreaking television star through Policewoman, earning a Golden Globe and multiple Emmy nominations. Throughout her career, she refused to be typecast or diminished. She demanded roles with depth, intelligence, and power. Women who were complex, not just decorative. That strength made her a target for men who were threatened by female talent. Her refusal to submit to condescension made her a rare force in Hollywood, a woman who could shine without surrendering her dignity. She didn't need to shout to be heard. She simply refused to be silenced. Personal life, love, pain, and endurance. Angie Dickinson's personal life was as dramatic as her career. She married Gene Dickinson in 1952, but their relationship ended in separation by 1956 and divorce in 1960. She kept the Dickinson name, which later became iconic. In 1965, she married composer Burt Bacharach, and together they had a daughter, Nikki. Nikki was diagnosed with autism and later struggled with mental health, eventually dying by suicide in 2007. The loss devastated Angie, and her grief was a private battle she rarely spoke about. After her divorce from Bacharach, Angie continued to have relationships with prominent men, including singer Billy Vera and broadcaster Larry King, but she never remarried. Her personal life showed her ability to love deeply and endure immense pain without losing her grace or strength. Outro: the quiet revenge of survival. Angie Dickinson was the kind of woman who could captivate an audience without begging for attention. She was glamorous, yes, but also fiercely intelligent, deeply private, and emotionally resilient. She rarely spoke ill of others, yet she never forgot those who treated her with disrespect. Her quiet revenge was surviving and thriving in a world that tried to diminish her. She became a Hollywood legend not just for her beauty, but for her strength, talent, and refusal to be intimidated. The men she labeled rude were not judged for their fame, but for their cruelty. And in the end, Angie Dickinson proved that real power doesn't come from charm or celebrity. It comes from dignity, self-respect, and the courage to demand to be treated as an equal.